All right, folks, what is going on? This is episode 412 of the First and Frame Rate Show. I am VF Baller, and today we're going to talk a lot of Atlanta Falcons today. I know. Georgia Southern just had their first scrimmage, and I'm going to touch on that before I get into the Falcons. Because what I see with the Falcons, what did I see with the Georgia Southern Eagles is nothing new. But I'm going to touch on them really quick, and then I'm going to get into this Falcons because I think something is going on with this organization that nobody really wants to talk about. They're scared to talk about, and they're, not even paying attention to what's happening. But we're going to talk about that shortly. If this is your first time here, welcome. This is the First and Frame Rate Show. I am VF Baller. Over here, I talk about Georgia Southern Atlanta Falcons football. I can be found on YouTube and Rumble. Also can be found on Anchor, Stitcher, Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts. You can find me on all those avenues. I highly recommend you to subscribe to more than one avenue because sometimes the one you may want to download or you want to use may not be up and the other ones will be. I've had that happen a few times, but if you just decide to subscribe to any of the avenues, I really, really thank you guys for doing that, and I thank you for doing that, and the support has been great. I really appreciate last couple of videos. Looks like everybody's interested in football season, and that's what it's all about. I can't thank you guys enough. Let's go ahead and get into Georgia Southern really quick. I want to talk about the scrimmage. Basically, what I seen was nothing new from what I thought I would see. Basically, Georgia Southern, Kyle Van Treats threw for 197, threw a touchdown pass to Derwin Burgess. I've been high on Derwin Burgess from day one. I thought this kid was going to be special, and it looks like that's going to be the case. Richie Langford threw a pass to Marcus Sanders, 54-yard touchdown pass, and Zach Roseman hit TJ Lewis, the kid that came from Louisville that I talked about in another episode, on a 27-yard scoring play. Good play, good look right there. OJ Arnold, Jalen White, and Terrion Dixon all scored. OJ Arnold, you may not know that's I want to say Amari. Yeah, Amari Arnold. That was his touchdown play, and he's impressing a lot of people when it comes to being on the field. It's gonna be really hard to keep that kid off the field as a true freshman. He looks like he's ready to go right now. Big pickup by Coach Clay Helton. Also, I'm looking at this on gseagles.com if you want to go over there and check it out. I'm going to read what it says here. All 6 quarterbacks spread the ball around. 12 players caught at least one pass. You also had, like I said, Sanders, Caleb Hood had a catch. Mari Jones had 61 yards. Caleb Hood had 43 receiving. Darius Lewis had 38, and Jeremy Singleton had 26. All of these guys are really good athletes. Very good athletes. And I've been watching Caleb Hood as a freshman, Amari Jones ever since he came from Tulane. Jeremy Singleton looked like he's going to be a star coming here from Houston. Darius Lewis, I remember when he was recruited as well. I wish he would have got more playing time earlier, but now he's going to be able to show what he can do. Michael Lance, I think he is the kicker that transferred from Minnesota. He was 3 for 4 with a longer 52 yard field goal. You can't beat that. So at the end of the day, this just looks really good. It looks really good. I don't want to hold up any more time because I really want to get into the Falcons, and I'm not trying to push Georgia Southern on the back burner. But most of the stuff I've seen right here is par for the course. It's not much nothing surprises me. I think this team is going to go 8-4, and I think this team is going to shock a lot of people. A lot of people think that this team is going to be somewhat of a transition from the option. They're going to lose against us if they think that way. Let the coaches continue to think that, because I know they're not paying attention to what we're doing over here. But nevertheless, before I get out of it, before I stop talking about them one more time, the defense actually had a pretty good outing as well. A couple of forced fumble and a recover fumble. Mark Stampley, the true freshman, picked up a recovered fumble. Anthony Wilson forced the fumble, and Dylan Springer recovered a fumble on the botched snap. So the offensive line got to do better with the botched snap. Got to get better with that. All right, let's go ahead and get into these Falcons. Listen, man, this is about to be something that you may not agree with. There's maybe something that you may not want to, hear. But I'm going to tell you right now, if you've seen the title, you already know what time it is. the Falcons have impressed me completely. And I'm going to tell you why. This is not just off of one preseason game. This is not off of just watching them get a come from behind victory with Desmond Ridder. When you look at everything, the big picture of all of this, you have to understand that what Coach Smith has done is nothing short of phenomenal. Coach Smith took a team that pretty much was fairly talented. I'm not saying they weren't necessarily a bad team. They were a bad team according to the NFL as a whole, but as far as the personnel, they weren't a bad team. You had a quarterback. You had a quarterback that was aging, a receiver that didn't want to be here, another receiver that ended up pretty much backing off on a team and ended up getting in trouble. You didn't have much on the offensive side of the ball outside of Cordell Patterson, and Kyle Pitts actually showed up because we didn't know that he was going to get 1,000 yards. We just didn't know, but he showed up, but he turned that team from 1 year ago to now to something really, really, this team looks actually pretty decent. Oh, yeah, it's against the Lions. Oh, that doesn't matter. Y'all got to understand that the Lions are an NFL team, regardless of what you may think. The Lions almost beat us last year. I can't remember the final score, but I think they almost beat us last year. I need to get the lighting done in here. But you have to understand that team played tough. They played hard. They played pretty good. And it's not just, it's bad Falcons. Both teams are below average. Let's be honest. But even though the fact that the teams are below average is mostly because both of these teams are trying to find their way again. It's not because the talent level is not there. It's not because that the teams are just have horrible players. Both of these teams are trying to find a way to mix and gel and actually do something. Especially the Falcons. The Falcons are really in a situation where they're trying to find their way with so much turnover, so much change. I can't remember one receiver that's back on the teams outside of Zacchaeus. I think all the other receivers new. Quarterbacks new. Running backs, for the most part, they've been around, but they haven't had that much playing time. Defense is pretty much overhauled. So when you look at guys like Ebikete, or you look at somebody like Desmond Ridder, even with Marcus Mariota, you see what the two guys I got on the screen down here at the bottom, Dean Pease and Arthur Smith? Great job. Great job of what they've been doing. Great job. Because this team, even though this team is not where it needs to be, if we're going to talk about winning championships, but what they've done so far, not just this one preseason game, because I'm not just talking about this preseason game. When you talk about what they're doing overall from day one, walking in the door, with the whole situation with the turnaround, moving Matt Ryan, and you look at these two quarterbacks we have now, yeah, we played against the Lions. Okay, you want to keep saying that, fine. But watching these guys play, they are on the path to do bigger and better things. Now, will that happen? That's yet to be seen. But you can tell that this team is on a different level right now. They're on a different level right now. And it's something that we all need to be embracing. Sometimes, even as fans, it may not mean much. It may not carry any weight. But sometimes you need to speak things into existence. That's just in all aspects of life, in my opinion. You just have to speak some things in. If you feel like this team is going to be something special, speak on it. Because I'm going to tell you something right now. I told y'all this before. Y'all may not think about it, but some of these guys that are wearing these helmets, wearing these uniforms, going out there to play ball, they look at some of the fanfare. It's either that or somebody goes back and tell them. And as long as they know we have their support, or as long as they know that they have our support, they're going to continue to actually do better and be better. That's just one aspect. Fan support means a lot to these guys. I firmly believe it. I've dealt with kids I spoke to kids in college, high school, little league, pee wee football, in all aspects of other sports. They want people rooting for them. Even though they probably have people rooting for them all their whole life, when that stops, it can change everything. So I get it. People want to be scorned and burned about what happened in the Falcons, last, decade or so, even longer than that. But you have to understand, we are in a different era right now. You have to understand that this is different. This is not your Thomas Dimitroff, Dan Quinn. I mean, who was the coach before Dan Quinn? I don't even care anymore. This is not your Matt Ryan. You know what I'm saying? This is not that type of football team no more. These two guys, the defensive coordinator and Arthur Smith is still calling the plays on offense. These guys have a game plan. Terry Fontenot, the GM, have a vision. And if you haven't been really watching from day one when these guys walked in the door, you can see that there's a big change. The preseason game has been pretty much like icing on the cake, but I seen it last year. You don't win. You don't go 7-10 with a team like what we had. No matter how you downplay it, we don't go 7-10 with a team like that. Then you turn right back around and you make so many moves in the offseason. You draft fairly well. I mean, you look at all of the rookies and what they've been doing as far as training camp, preseason, and now the first preseason game. They look pretty good. When you look at all the other moves and the changes to the offense that have been made, I mean, we were running the pistol offense. What? The Falcons running the pistol? You see all the changes that have been made, and you understand, like, this is not your 28-3 Falcons team. This is not a team this damn sure don't look like a team that's gonna, have the lead and lose it. It doesn't look like that team anymore. I am thoroughly impressed with what has happened with this team. It may not mean much to you, and that's fine. Because a lot of people around here just want results. I'm not going to say around here, but a lot of people, like I said, I'm not going to say around here because you guys are intelligent. You guys know what time it is. But you have a lot of people in this fan base that want results now. They want wins right away. And I get it. I do too. But you got to understand it's a process. Some people want to see the team fall flat in their face because it's cool to be negative. And a lot of people who are watching Mariota, watching Desmond Ridder, watch those guys scramble in the pocket, scramble to get yards. That was something really nice to look at, right? There's a lot of people who've been wanting that. Mad because Matt Ryan couldn't run. Mad because we missed Michael Vick. Now we got a little mix between both out of both quarterbacks. Are they going to be like all pros or make the Pro Bowl or anything? I don't think so. I don't think either one of them is going to make the Pro Bowl this year. I don't even think they're going to be. I'll be surprised if they're in the top 15 at quarterback, to be honest. I'll be highly surprised either one of them if they start being the top 15. That's how low I feel about the quarterback situation. But it's only because Mariota has been around for a while. And I don't know if he still got it. Maybe he just have enough to play safe football, but not be an all-pro level. And Desmond Ridder just starting. So I don't expect him to be top 15 either. Now, after 3 years, Desmond Ridder need to show something. You know what I mean? After 3 years. But I think at the end of the day, when you look at this, we got something going here. And I think a lot of people need to start realizing what it is. Then we got a lot going on here. And I think that's something that we really need to think on. That's something that we really need to look into, embrace it. As a fan base, have a conversation on what we think this team is going to build from it. Because I just looked at the press conferences they had, on Sunday. And it looked like these guys are still in the process of getting better throughout preseason. Yes, Drake London is probably not going to play again. I don't expect them to play again for the rest of the preseason, but you never know. But when you have a situation like this, it's something to really pay attention to, something to take hold and pay attention to and watch what they're able to do, because I think this team is in the making of doing something way beyond our expectations. What happened in the preseason game was fun. That was fun to watch. Good come from behind victory. Yes, it was just preseason, but for a guy like Desmond Ridder, that's what he needed. He needed that. He needed to find a way. Well, they needed to be in a position so he could have that experience, preseason or not. All the other guys who were just learning to gel with this team needed that experience. And that's what it's all about. It's exactly what it's about. At the end of the day, I love what I see here. I'm thoroughly impressed, 100%. Not just because of this preseason game, but everything leading up to this preseason game. And barring injury, I think this team's going to continue to get better. It may not happen as fast as you want it. It may not even happen as fast as I want it. But this team is going to get better. And I'm going to be here every step of the way to talk about it and enjoy it. If you like this commentary, hit the like button. If you want to share this podcast, share it. Subscribe to the channels if you haven't already. The Atlanta Falcons have impressed me 100%. I really believe that. Georgia Southern looked pretty good in their scrimmage. And I think for the state of Georgia, man, as far as people who embrace this channel and watch Georgia Southern and Atlanta Falcons football, I think we're going to have some good football this year from both teams. I can't speak on all the other teams that are in the state of Georgia, but these two teams, they're going to be looking pretty good. I can be found on Anchor, Stitcher, Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts. Also on YouTube and Rumble if you want to watch the podcast. If you want to listen, those are the podcast avenues I'm on. And I can't thank you guys enough. I appreciate you making it this far. If this is your first time here, I appreciate you guys. If you've continuously been watching and listening, it's been fun. And I think it's going to get much better. I hope you guys understand that. Hope you guys embrace it. And hope you guys enjoy watching what both of these teams are doing. I'll be back on Tuesday with another episode. We're talking more Georgia Southern Atlanta Falcons football. Thank you guys once again. I am out of here. You guys take it easy and you guys be blessed. Enjoy your Monday. Peace.